In doing the reciprocal functions, we need to make sure that we know where the zeros are. So we're going to first do the horizontal shift on this particular graph. So we have a horizontal shift of left 1. So I'm going to go -4, -3, -1, 1, and 2. What's important though is that we keep track of these zeros, because when we do the reciprocal, those are going to be important. So these are going to be our 0 points that we have to keep in mind, because what we're going to do first is do the reciprocal and then shift it down by 1. So by doing the reciprocal, we're going to generate the asymptotes. Okay, so I'm just going to put our asymptotes here. So at -3 and +1 represent our asymptotes, and those are the key. That is a key point. And so what ended up happening here is, if we take a look at this graph started off at this point. Okay, we started off at where the zeros were at those 2 points. And we shifted left 1, so you can see that the zeros now are where the asymptotes are. And that's the key. So now that we've taken the reciprocal, I'm just going to move this back. Now that we've taken the reciprocal, we can then establish the vertical asymptotes. We should actually take the reciprocal of those other coordinates. So we're going to take the reciprocals of these other coordinates. So we're going to take the reciprocal of 1 is 1, and then we're going to apply the -1 as well. So there's going to be a 0. Reciprocal of -2 is -2 is -1/2. So we're going to get -1 is -1.5, and we get 0 for this point as well. Now these reference points are not particularly useful, other than that vertex is going to turn into a vertex, and at 2, 0. These just happen to be some points on the graph. -4, 0. Okay. What's key though is that we need to, once we take the reciprocal, we have a horizontal asymptote, and that horizontal asymptote gets shifted down by -1. So that represents our horizontal asymptote, and we know that as the original graph, I'm going to do this in blue, I guess. The original graph moves away from the original 0. It's going to move towards the asymptotes. It's going to follow the asymptote this way. And as the original graph moves towards the 0, it's going to move away from the 0 as a vertical asymptote. This happens to be a vertex. It's going to follow the asymptotes through that vertex. Okay, and then we're going to have this mirror image on this side. Okay, so it's going to follow the asymptotes, and we're going to have these parts in the middle, and typically it's going to shift from going the graph pointing up. As it goes across the asymptote, it's going to switch to pointing down.